Good Wednesday evening. Welcome to BCP Live. I am glad that you are along for the ride with me tonight. Listen, there are things to talk about left and right, all kinds of things to talk about. I have a few. I don't think we're going to hit the whole gamut of everything tonight, but I do have a few things I did want to mention. So appreciate everyone for stopping in tonight. Whenever you happen to join, if you're watching live, well, thanks for watching live, including one Dottie Levi. Thank you very much for watching live. Dottie, at the end of the program, I have the most ridiculous thing I've seen today. And I don't know. You may want to stick around for that. I'm not sure. I hope so. Oh, yes, we do need to talk about that. As well. And you know what? I don't know if I have that up. I need to bring that up. I can at least hit the high points. And you may be able to put a link in that, Dottie. You may put a link in the comments section for Asian Gourmet for me, if you would, please. Teresa, glad that you are along for the ride tonight as well. I appreciate that. Thank you very much for stopping by. Man, it's great to get to see all the folks regularly. Took some time away from the microphone yesterday, which for me, man, I don't know. It's kind of a tough thing for me to do sometimes. So anyway, but I did get to go up to Oklahoma City, and I'll talk about that, talk about a few things. I always say it may not be a long show tonight, so I know that when I say that in good preacher fashion that, expect to be here for like 3 hours. But no, we're not going to do that. Charity, thank you for stopping by tonight. Man, I'm glad that you're on board as well. The numbers are going up and down, and so I'm kind of watching that little eyeball here. Jaylee Bell says, hi, Granddaddy. Well, Granddaddy says hi to you, Jaylee Bell. I sure do love you a little bit. You are an incredible little girl, and your granddaddy loves you. So I'm glad that you guys are there. Jack watching tonight as well. Well, Jack, stick around. Should be a lot of fun. Okay, let's get started. Blood drives. I want to go ahead and put this on the screen for you. I'd like it to make it a little bit bigger than that. There we go. I don't know if you can read that or not. So I'm going to, this is from the Bryan County Patriot website. So Adrian, thank you for watching tonight. Appreciate you for stopping by. From the Bryan County Patriot website, this is a release from the Oklahoma Blood Institute. I appreciate them sending me this information on a regular basis, and so I try to put out the things especially that relate to Bryan County. The OBI has announced it will provide free COVID-19 antibody tests for all blood donors 18 and older. The Oklahoma Blood Institute is the first center in the state to offer COVID-19 antibody screening service to its donors. It goes on to talk about, hey, listen, it comes in the wake of an immediate need for blood donations, and this is due to an unprecedented number of blood drive cancellations. So they're having to make things up, and they are. There are so many blood drives coming up just in the next 3 weeks alone. I think within a 25-mile radius is what I checked out, within a 25-mile radius of 74701, wherever they happen to put that, I don't know, post office or city hall, whatever they've determined is the epicenter of 74701, well, then there are 23 blood drives I counted in the next 22, 23 days. There you go. So obviously opportunities. Hi, Diana. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate that. And Jason, yes, you're right. Thanks for being just Johnny on the spot there. Shamrock Blood Drive, June 16th, 3 p.m. to 5:15 p.m. Now, I want to talk about that, and I definitely want to promote that as well. I'd like to read down a little bit more here. Oklahoma is now in phase 3 of reopening, and many of us are going back to work and resuming activities as I don't know why that wants to come up small there. There we go. Let me start this again. Oklahoma is now in phase 3 of reopening, and many of us are going back to work and resuming activities. There we go. The testing innovation is key to empowering Oklahomans with the health information they need as we continue to navigate the COVID-19 crisis and evaluate effective methods to keep Oklahomans safe. Medical community commends OBI for providing this valuable testing free of charge. That's pretty cool too, free of charge. Testing kits are provided by IMMY located in Norman, Oklahoma. And OBI's medical laboratory technicians will test each blood sample individually. A tube will be drawn at the time of donation, and antibody test results will be mailed post-donation. Donors may opt out of the antibody test. Let me read that again. Donors may opt out of the antibody test. Okay, so let's stop right there for just a moment, go over that really quickly. You don't have to have your antibodies tested. Okay, Nita, it's all right if you're late. Man, you are here right on time. So thanks for showing up. Connor, glad you dropped by tonight as well. Brandy, thank you for joining too. Okay, here's the important thing. It's available and it's free. So there you go. This is something we've been talking about here on BCP Live actually for quite a while. The opportunity to get the antibody testing, because not everybody's going to test positive for the virus at a certain point. Someone may have already had the virus and then took the test, didn't test positive, but you've already been through it. It has been determined, and Dr. Birx, and I know everyone's seen Dr. Birx, the woman who is part of the coronavirus task force for the White House, and she's been going on and on for a couple of months. You see her in all the press conferences, and she said about a week and a half or so ago that it is likely, very likely, that 35% of the population, 35% of the population has already come in contact with this virus. Okay, we can talk about that a little bit later on. Simple fact of the matter is, you may have already had it, and that's great. And if you have, and you got through it, that's wonderful. And if you've had it and you didn't know you had it and you got through it, that's probably even better. And so you might be able to help somebody else if it's been determined that you have the antibodies in your system to fight off this virus. Well, now that's pretty cool. So, number one, it's available. Number two, it's free. Number three, some of us are going to be giving blood anyway, so why not get it done? Now, we'll go back to why not here in just a moment. But why not get it done if you're giving blood anyway? I had to have a blood test done earlier this week. And so, got the little needle in the arm. By the way, Carrie, I haven't forgotten about you at all. Just want to let you know that. I've been out of pocket for just a little bit, just so you know. So I had the needle in my arm. There you go. There's a graphic description in it. But I've never been concerned about giving blood, never been concerned about blood tests, had to get a blood sample, just one of those routine things. And man, if I thought I'd like to go ahead and give blood now. I mean, since the needle's already there, I mean, why put myself in a position to get that needle back in there another time? And it doesn't mess with me. It doesn't freak me out or anything like that. Maybe it freaks you out. I don't know. But there it is. So anyway, just something to think about, that you're going to be, some of us are giving blood anyway. It's time. It's my time to give blood anyway. I actually waited a little while because I thought this might be something that comes up. I probably could have given blood in May, but I decided to wait just a little while longer because I wanted to see if this was a possibility. So there it is. It's a possibility. Now, here's the flip side of it. I heard today from someone that some people didn't like this because they were taking the antibodies and they didn't want that to be done. They didn't want to be tested. And if you gave blood, there was just no choice. Well, according to the Oklahoma Blood Institute, you do have a choice. So there it is. So if it really messes with you that you want to give blood, but you don't want them to test you for antibodies, then you can opt out of it. Now, I don't see why you would want to, but that's my opinion, and that's fine. And if your opinion is otherwise, that's fine too. I know that some people would be concerned. I mean, some people seem to be concerned, well, it's just another thing that the government's doing, and that I just don't want another intrusion into what I have going on. It's my body. Okay, that's fine. I would think, though, and again, Joey's opinion, labeled as such, this is the least of our concerns about what the government could do. I mean, we know Bill Gates is wanting a vaccine. It is so well documented that Bill Gates wants population control. He thinks there are too many people on the planet right now, and that number needs to be diminished. Okay? He's in charge or heading up research for a vaccine. It has been talked about ad infinitum about the fact that, well, what's he going to do? Because he also wants digital certificates that you've been vaccinated. He wants some kind of digital record that you've been vaccinated. Why not put something into the vaccine that gets into your bloodstream, and now you have the little microchip? I'm not saying all that's real. I'm just saying, of all the things to be concerned about, getting antibody tested seems to be the least of those things. So there you go. All right. Lisa, by the way, Lisa, hi. I'm glad that you stopped by tonight. I appreciate you. Advance America Blood Drive, July 10th in Durant. So we're stepping outside June just a little bit, but July 10th, Advance America Blood Drive. And I would imagine the antibody testing will still be going on then as well. Lisa, please confirm that if you get a chance, but I would imagine it's still going on then as well. All right, Dottie and Jack Levi. There we go. Dottie and Levi are the same person. Dottie and Jack Levi both have links to the Asian Gourmet fundraiser. So they are in the comments section, and we'll be talking about that a little bit later on. It is, probably more a little tomorrow, but it is going on all week long and something very special on Saturday. So they're doing something really cool. If you would like to take part in this fundraiser also, this is really cool too. And Asian Gourmet has been doing a lot for this community, for Durant and all of Bryan County during this shutdown, the pandemic time in which we live. So there it is. All right, Brian, glad you made it. Another EMS night. So I'm glad that you are watching from outside of Bryan County. Colgate's not that far away. That's okay. Wanda. Oh, it's a blessing to see your name come up there too. I really appreciate that. Oh my goodness. Not just one, but two daughters in the house. Jen, glad that you joined tonight as well. I actually was going to talk about going to Oklahoma City, and I probably will just a little bit later on. But the blood drive thing needed to be mentioned. So here's my take on this. I'm definitely going to get the antibody testing done. I mean, there's no question. As far as I'm concerned, that's a done deal. But okay, Lisa says, hope so about the antibody testing. Haven't been told yet. If you find out, Lisa, anymore, definitely we want to put it on there. But I would imagine that they're still going to be doing this in July. So there you go. My take on it is this about the antibodies. I haven't yet decided, and that's probably the theme for the show tonight. I haven't yet decided what I want it to show, because there's a part of me that says I want it to show, yes, I have those antibodies in my system. The thing came, went, and I just didn't know any different. I mean, I'm telling you, I have not skipped a beat through this entire shutdown time, through the whole phase 1, phase 2, doesn't matter. Phase 3, we've started that. It does. Look, I'm probably healthier now. And I'm not kidding. I'm actually probably healthier now than I was 3 months ago. I think I've eaten better. I know I've drank a lot more water. I mean, constantly, this is water. Constantly have water going in the OSU mug. Seriously, I'm healthier now than I was 3 months ago. So there's a part of me that wants it to just, say, hey, yes, I've got the antibodies. And if I get to give plasma or something to help somebody else, then bless God, that's great. I'm happy to do it. The flip side of that is there's also a part of me that says, no, I don't want it to come anywhere near me, because, and I go back to something I mentioned a few weeks ago, when the whole thing was starting to ramp up a little bit, and this is the week right before spring break. So I've told you before, I take all my kids to school in the morning, and I've done this ever since JC Rain was just a little bitty JC Rain. And so I always take the kids to school. I enjoy it. To me, it's a blessing. I know that the last thing those kids are hearing before they go to school is that their daddy loves them and that they've been prayed for. And I know that that's not the case for every child who comes to school. I've taught in a private school. I've taught in a Christian school, private school, and I've taught in a public school. And I know without a doubt that some kids don't hear that before they get to school. And they've already gone through and they've already dealt with so many other things prior to coming to school. I mean, the last year I taught in the public school, when I was teaching journalism at Durant, I had third hour and fourth hour, and I know that there were kids who were still dealing with things they'd heard prior to coming to school. So, I prayed with the little ones, and one of the things I prayed for was this. By the way, glad to see you, Michelle, tonight. Thanks for stopping by. Paula, thank you for stopping by. Melissa, you made my night. Absolutely made my night. Thank you for stopping by for a little bit. Here's what I prayed for the kids, and right before I dropped them off. And I prayed, Father, take care of the kids. And I just, the regular things I prayed for them. But I know there's a lot of this going on. And I want you to protect my children, protect my family. And if it means protecting this entire school building to protect my kids, that's what I'm asking for. And if it means protecting this entire city to protect my kids, then that's what I'm asking for. And if it means protecting this entire county to protect my kids, then that's what I'm asking for. And I told you I'd prayed those things, and I don't mind praying big. God's a big God. So I don't mind praying for the big things. And none of us have, we've all been okay. If it came through, then it came through and went. But there's a big part of me that wants to say, no, there's no, like I said, I want us to have the antibodies to say, hey, listen, it came through, it went, I didn't know any different. But there's also another part of me that goes, no, I don't want it to have come through at all, because I wanted the thing just die at my door. So, and I would say this, and it goes back one more time. I'll say it again. The numbers in Bryan County are small. There's some updated numbers today. We can get to them. We're going to start going away from updating numbers too, because the state is tamping down on giving these numbers. We're no longer in the state of emergency, according to the Oklahoma government, and so they're going to start lessening. They're backing off the numbers a little bit. But I thought, these numbers are small. And I was thinking about that one time, because I mean, there are other parts of the state where the numbers are big. And yes, Joey, I know some people crossed the river and got tested in Grayson County, so your number should be a little bit bigger. I know that. We all know that. But I was thinking about it one time, and I prayed about it, and I thought, Father, why? That's neat that our numbers are so small, but why are those numbers so small? And it was just, it came to mind just so quickly. That's what you prayed for, wasn't it? I thought, well, yeah, there you go. That's what I prayed for. So we'll get to the numbers in a moment. Let's do this. So anyway, that's the theme for tonight's show. I haven't really decided. I don't know. I think I actually probably more I'm leaning toward that I'd like it to show that there are antibodies in my system so that I could have something to donate to somebody else. That's what I'm thinking. Anyway, all right. Hey, we have a lot of great advertisers and sponsors on the Bryan County Patriot entirely to you all. Okay, you guys are an absolute blessing. Even Don Hyde. I mean, you all are just an amazing blessing. Travis, thank you for joining tonight. And even the Don Hyde is a blessing. I have had so many about show my night. Probably, what was are we still online? What was said to me more than anything else was how did you sit there that long and talk to Don Hyde? So there we go. All right, Teresa says we're still online, so that's good. I lost my signal for just a little bit, and it is what it is. Let's thank our advertisers and sponsors then before. And by the way, our advertisers and sponsors here, not sponsoring the BCP Live in particular. I'm talking about the website, BryanCountyPatriot.com. It is continuing to grow. It's growing. So I appreciate everyone for advertising on the BryanCountyPatriot.com, including Abundant Life Texoma, Blake Utterford. I got to talk to Blake today, visiting with him. He's across the river, but he's a sponsor here of the Bryan County Patriot. And I know they're going to have some really big incentives coming up. Got some good deals for you down there at Blake Utter Ford. The Choctaw Nation, Durant Station, Greg Phillips Insurance, Indian Nation Wholesale, Jalapenos, People First Industries, Texoma Financial Services, and Texoma Utility Equipment, All Seasons Travel, Bryan Agri Products. I went a little wonky for a little while. I don't, it's not me. I can't help the little wonky. Oh, you were talking about me personally? Oh, okay. No, I don't know. Anyway, hey, Jorge, told you I'd wave. Told you I would wave. So thanks for saying hi. All Seasons Travel, Bryan Agri Products, Choctaw Nation Foster Care, great service, absolutely fantastic service. Firehouse Subs, Firehouse Subs. I really like those subs too. The Italian is my favorite. Hausner's, Justice Insurance, Prices Printing, Taco Casa, and Van Meter Realty, among others. So we have a lot of sponsors, so I wanted to get to them really, really quickly. All right. So I talk to you each night about, Mrs. Patriot says it's our internet. So if that's the case, we're all watching along. If I went a bit wonky, again, maybe that's just from hanging around Don Hyde for a little while. I can't help that. You just spend a lot of time. That's okay. I've just been waiting for Don to comment on my shirt. I don't think it'll be a complete show unless Don comments on my shirt. So my connection was wonky, not just me. It was the connection. Okay. Where was I? Oh, been talking about no fear. I want to continue talking about that too, because it's still a theme. It's still very much a theme. And there's a lot going on now. It's amazing, by the way. Have you noticed how social, according to that, yes, it's not a boy's medium, Don. It's a boy's large. That's all I'm saying. See, I would have been disappointed. That's the whole reason I wore this T-shirt tonight. Actually, I wanted to, promote Texoma Engraving as much as possible, but it's a boy's large. I'm trying to fill it out as best I can. I don't know. it was when when the connection went wonky. It was when I was talking about Dawn. Yeah, that's probably the case. All right. All of this last little bit prior to the most ridiculous thing I've seen today, it's all kind of one little thing. We don't need to walk in fear. I don't know if you've noticed or not that the news has changed its theme a little bit. If you noticed that lots of folks, even though many of the newscasters are still virtue signaling as much as they can, wearing masks while they're talking, and I have a mask. Mrs. Patriot got me a mask, and I admit, I mean, you've never seen me wear it on the show, and I admit that I don't wear it very often. I think I've worn it once or twice. I did wear it to a doctor's appointment. Everyone else in the doctor's building was wearing a mask, and they said, when we need to wear a mask, and so I wanted to respect that. And I wore a mask going into the pharmacy. For the most part, I haven't. I hope that you don't feel like I'm being disrespectful to you. I'm not, and I'm not being disrespectful to anybody in particular. I can tell you that much right now. But we have that. That's fine. But if you noticed that with all of the situation since the Minneapolis, there have been lots of All right. It says I'm back. Would somebody please let me know if I am back on the air? Somebody please tell me if I am back on the air. I was talking about Don Hyde, and I don't know. Somebody, you do see me. Well, praise God. Praise God. You think? Oh, no fear. No fear. Well, by the way, I thank you. First off, I want to say thank you to everybody who commented that I was off the air. I have to tell you that you've made my night just by actually wondering where I went. So I'm not sure. Let's see. Jason says Bill Gates is. I don't know if he did, but that's probably the case. And Jennifer thinks that Karen took me. So Karen may have taken me because I tell Karen regularly to get off my lawn. And Nita, of course, it's Karen's ghost. So there we are. All right. Well, you know what? I guess I need to hurry up the pace. And this goes back to the beginning where I said it wouldn't be a long show. So it's turned into a long show. You all are a blessing that you stuck with me through that. My goodness, an absolute blessing. All right. Let's move on. Mrs. Patriot informed me, by the way, that I haven't finished a thought in quite a while, so I need to actually finish a thought now. So let's go on. Let's go back to the thought process here really quickly. Because of the current state of our country, have you noticed the news broadcasts are not talking about social distancing anymore? They show many, many gatherings of many, many people, and you're not hearing anything about these people not being 6 feet apart. It's just not happening. It's amazing how something like this wound up being the cure for the coronavirus. Who would have thought that was the case? By the way, there I said the thing which shall not be named, but I did it anyway. I'm sorry about that. So that having all been said, I'm not going to walk in fear. I'm not going to walk in fear. I'm just not. I can't afford to do that. I'm not going to, and by any stretch of the imagination, I'm not going to walk in fear. And we saw the other night, we went up yesterday to Oklahoma City. I told you I had a family thing, and we went up to the city and we saw daughter number two. She doesn't like it when I call her number two. I can't figure that one out. I don't know why, but she doesn't like it when I call her number two. But we went up to see number two, and all of us. I mean, all 5 of my kids were there. Grandkids were there. Mother-in-law was there. Enjoyed the whole thing. Got to just, it was a great day. And it was good to see her. She lives not very far from the Capitol building. And there's a reason I'm telling you this. She has a fantastic view of the Capitol building. And this weekend, there were situations in Oklahoma City. Some of them by the police station, which is not far from where she lives. Now, I'm not going to tell you exactly where she lives, but I would say relative to where the police station is, it's probably the distance between Paul Laird Field. If you want to think about it in Durant, it's the distance between Paul Laird Field and the post office. Is that a good reference point there? So, yes, I have grandkids. I know. I don't look that old. Contrary to popular belief, I'm wearing a boy's large shirt, but I have grandkids. So when you think about this and how close this is, I realize that's a pretty good distance away, but not too far. And we were watching this on the news, and we're watching the internet, and we're seeing, these crowds of people getting close to where my daughter is. And Mrs. Patriot and I, we stayed up for a while. We watched for a little while, and I wasn't watching in fear, but we were, going to see, okay, well, it looks like it might be a little closer to your way. What do you need to do? And we're just thinking about this. And finally, I was tired, and it was about time. I mean, it's the weekend, but we're going to have a lot to do on Monday, and so let's get it done. So I just looked at Mrs. Patriot and said, all right, we're going to pray. And so we prayed. Not that we hadn't prayed anyway, but we just prayed, and I prayed for her, and I prayed for protection for her and wisdom for her. And I, not to go into everything we prayed for, but I spent time praying for her, spoke to the situation, addressed it. And then I'll tell you what I did. I went to sleep. There was nothing more I could do at that point. And all this time for 11, now 12 weeks, I've been telling you, don't walk in fear. Don't walk in fear. Don't walk in fear. Don't walk in fear. I wasn't about to sit there and contradict my own encouragement to you. So I prayed, did what I could, and I went to sleep. Slept pretty well, as a matter of fact. Got up the next day, went about my business, didn't immediately call, wasn't going to panic. Later on, I call, talk about it. She's okay. Mrs. Patriot actually had talked with her about it. I knew everything was all right. So we're good. I want to encourage you to say it's not always easy to not walk in fear when you're looking at a situation. And sometimes you have to look elsewhere. Sometimes you can't just be watching this and go, okay, because it'll mess with you. It'll freak you out. And so, you can't just be looking at that all the time. I would remind you from the book that I quote regularly on here, that book with some higher wisdom, Of course, I'm talking about the Bible. I'm teasing in case anyone wants to know. But Peter got out of the boat. Peter walked on the water. Peter got in trouble and got fearful when he started looking at the waves, stopped looking at Jesus. So I just encourage you, when we start looking at other things and we start looking at the things that are trying to come against us, it's much easier to be in fear when you do that. So, all right. With that having been said, I knew I was going somewhere. It's all kind of wrapping up. I still have my most ridiculous thing that I've seen today, so I haven't forgotten about it. But I haven't been on social media in the last 2 days. I came to a point where, there's a lot of stuff out there that I really don't need to see, really don't want to look at. I'll get back on. I need to be aware. I know I do news for a living, right? But man, some of those things you just don't need to be looking at all the time, and I just didn't need it. Prior to my 2-day fast, if you will, and it wasn't meant to be that. It was just I needed to get off. I have like a hair in my shirt, and you're going, Joey, it didn't come from you. You're right, but I'm married. I have 4 daughters and a son. They all have hair. So there are events planned for our area. And I said from the beginning, the theme of this show is I haven't really decided yet. And I haven't really decided my opinion yet on this. If you'll bear with me, I don't have an opinion yet on some of the events that are planned. But I have heard and read about events that are planned for our area that coincide with national unrest. And I'm not sure how I think about this yet. And so I don't want to come online and say, this is what I think. This is my encouragement or discouragement to you regarding these things, just as a gut reaction. I'd rather wait a little bit. I'd rather, determine whatever it is that I believe and then go from there. So that's what I wanted to say that because there's a lot out there. There's a lot on social media, which brings me to my next statement. A man lost his job today because of social media. And it hits close to home for me. I'm telling you. I don't know, something from the dryer or what. Anyway. You ever get those things that just bug you? Anyway. A man lost his job today because he tweeted something that wasn't the right thing to tweet. And he lost his job. 60-year-old man. And it's close to home for me because he's a sportscaster. He's a play-by-play man. Does announcing for an NBA team. And I would say, if you're talking about broadcasting opportunities, this is like the pinnacle of getting your broadcasting opportunity. If you're the play-by-play guy for an NBA team, you're the play-by-play guy for an NFL team, Major League Baseball, National Hockey League, whatever the case may be. This is you're at the pinnacle of your game. And he tweeted something that didn't fit the narrative. And it made people unhappy. and he was placed on administrative leave within an hour, within minutes, an hour, placed on administrative leave. And eventually he resigned, and I saw the statement from the company, and it looked like he was let go. I've heard and read in places he resigned. I've heard and read that he was let go from his job. And I was going to show you that tweet tonight. And again, this falls in the category I haven't really decided, because he's actually not the one that started it. Somebody asked him his opinion. Someone asked him his opinion. An NBA player asked him his opinion. He gave his opinion, and then he lost his job. That's where we are in social media. Now, I'm not going to be afraid. I'm not going to be scared to say what I need to say when I need to say it. But the flip side of it is there is a world out there right now that is ready and waiting to cancel you at first opportunity. I think we need to be wise with what we put on social media. I think we need to be wise with what we put on Facebook. I think we need to be wise with what we put on Twitter, with what we put on Instagram. Now, should somebody have the power to, completely cancel you because they didn't like your opinion, because you had wrong think, because you didn't follow the narrative, because you said something that somebody else didn't like? I don't think that really should be the case. There are people here in Durant that I like, that I would call friend, that do not see things the way that I see. Really. Doesn't mean I think they're bad people. They don't see things the way I see them. I might think they're wrong, but I certainly don't want to cancel them. I don't want them to lose their job because they had a different political opinion than I did. I don't want them to lose their livelihood because they had a different way of thinking than I do. People are so willing to get rid of you, cancel you. You said something different. Well, I don't like you anymore. And I feel really bad for this man because he's 60 years old. You know the likelihood of getting another NBA play-by-play job at where he is? And I know I'm still more than a decade from 60, but and especially now because of how he lost his job, the opportunity for him to get something else like that, to get another gig like that, it's very unfortunate. So I wanted to encourage you, because again, I hadn't decided if I was going to show that tweet or not, because he didn't even start it. He was asked his opinion. He gave the wrong opinion, and he lost his job. Let's clarify this. Asked his opinion, gave his opinion, lost his job. Be wise in how you post social media. And it's a good thing too. I think as a county, we all ought to be wise in what we do. People who are businesses and corporations that come in here, they watch. They're looking to see what people are like in our towns and in our county before they get here. Don't think for a moment they're not looking at us before they come. They want to know what they're getting into. If they're going to set up a business, if they're going to set up a corporation, if they're going to set up a manufacturing job, whatever the case may be, if they're going to set this up in our county, they want to know who we are before they get here. They don't want to put themselves in a bad situation. So we should be wise with what we say on social media, with what we post on Facebook, with what we post on Twitter. And I realize probably many of the people that need to hear this aren't listening right now, and that's okay. But anyway, all right. Though that's where I'm sad about that. It took longer today than what it should have because we lost the internet signal. Sorry about that, but we're still with it. My only concern now, because we know obviously that the thing which shall not be named, the beer bug, has miraculously been cured by protesting. So you don't have to be 6 feet apart anymore. My concern now is that government officials, if there are numbers that go up, then they're going to use these protests and riots, and some of these are just riots, period. I mean, some things may have started out as protests. They're not that way anymore. Some are just riots. The end. There's no other way around it. Please don't try to justify it. There is no other way around it. Some of these things are not peaceful protests. Some of these things are riots. And I'm concerned that some folks in government are going to use these riots then as excuses to say, well, see, we let you get close together again, and now everything's falling apart, so we're going to try to shut things down one more time. That's the one thing I'm concerned about there. So anyway, all right, let me see here. You know, you have to be wise. Here I'm closing now. Most ridiculous thing I've seen today. If anybody is still watching, please stick around to the end for this. You just have to be specific with some people. You just have to be specific with some people. I've been saying now, be wise, use discretion, and do not walk in fear. But I've also been for weeks now saying, look, when we do have freedom and we're able to go into stores and do more things again, don't run out down the street. Don't high five everybody and hug everybody that doesn't want to be hugged. Don't lick the shopping cart handles. And that kind of is a phrase that stuck with the show for a while. We're not supposed to lick the shopping cart handles. Okay? How many times have we said, don't lick the shopping cart handles? And now here we are. And there it is. You tell somebody not to lick the shopping cart handles, and he licks the plexiglass. Is that at the pharmacy? I think that's at the pharmacy. So Jack goes out in public and licks the plexiglass. It's the most ridiculous thing I've seen today. So I'm just telling you, with some people, you have to be more specific. So Jack, don't lick the plexiglass. Don't lick the sneeze guards. Don't lick the pharmacist. Don't lick don't lick the bottles that the drugs come in before you take them home. Don't lick the microphone, the keys before you stick them in the ignition. I'm trying to figure out how specific I have to be for Jack. I don't know. But for some people, you just have to be much more specific. And that is the most ridiculous thing that I have seen today. Oh, I'm so thankful to Dottie for sharing that. That is absolutely, I know, Margie, Nita, I know. Don't be like Jack. There are lots of, that's pet sense. That was pet sense. Jack, don't lick the animals. Don't lick the people grooming the animals. Don't fix, you can't fix stupid. I've been wanting to say that for a long time, Gail, that you can't do that. Yes, Paula, that was in Durant. I've been wanting to say that for a long time. You can't legislate morality, and you can't legislate out immorality, and you can't legislate out stupidity. So, yes, that's there. Susan, glad you joined tonight. Margie, I am so glad that you were part of the broadcast tonight. I appreciate that. Thanks for sticking around through all that, through all the internet issues we had tonight. And we had internet. We don't have internet issues here very often. I know Mrs. Patriot would probably disagree with that, but at least in the studio, we don't have internet issues that often. But you stuck around with me on that. All right. Have you noticed? Right, where is it? There it is. Right there. There it is. Durant Riding Club Pro Rodeo is going to be June 19th and June 20th. Now, we had announcer West Huggins on the broadcast with us about 3 or 4 weeks ago. We're going to have him back next week. He's going to talk a little bit more about the rodeo. This is one of the first rodeos that is going to be this season throughout the country. This is one of the first ones opening back up. This is a very big deal for our town and our county, and we need to support this rodeo. It is June 19th, and it is June 20th. June 20th for the Durant Riding Club Pro Rodeo, June 19th and June 20th. So let's support that, get out and make sure, because these are people that are bringing in lots of money to our county. They're going to be staying in our hotels. They're going to be eating at our restaurants, and we need to be a blessing to those folks. And besides all that, we need to support the rodeo anyway. Jack is just Jack's just scraping the cat hair off his tongue. Oh, that's fine. You have to be specific with Jack. I like, Jody said it. That's just so Jack. And Jack comments, by the way, don't forget about the Asian Gourmet fundraiser. It's all week and a big deal on Saturday. So we really have to, Dottie, I'm gonna have to promote this a lot more tomorrow. Sorry, it wasn't on the agenda to promote too much tonight, but the comments, the links are in the comments. So you definitely need to follow the links and find out a little bit more, and we'll have some more about that on the Bryan County Patriot. All right. I think you guys are so cool. You all are such a blessing. Jennifer, thanks for coming back on. I appreciate you being here tonight. Janelle, good to see you tonight. Willie, thanks a lot for being here as well. And Susan, you are always a blessing. Of course, we're charting these waters, and you're a blessing so much. I don't always get to mention everybody in the comments, and I just want to say how thankful I am for each one of you for stopping by and for watching the show. People who have continued to watch even through internet issues tonight. You guys are absolutely a blessing. And I just wanted to tell you just how much I'm thankful for you. We're going to do this again tomorrow night at 9. We'll talk a little bit about the Asian Gourmet special tomorrow night at 9 as well. And who knows? Who knows what we're going to do after that? We may have another Jack Levi sighting. You just never know. So you want to stick around. Do not walk in fear. Do not walk in fear. Don't do it. I double dog dare you. Do not walk in fear. All right? All right. Be wise. Use discretion. Don't walk in fear. Let's do this again tomorrow night. God bless you all. Have a great night.